Okay, guys, in the new episode of Denim and Leather podcast, we have, for me, a legend from Norway, coming Åge Sten Nilsen from Wig Wam.
Hello!
Yeah, man, I used to listen to that first album. Hard to Be a Rock and Roller was the album, right?
Yeah. It's still hard to be a rock roller. It's getting harder and harder every day.
2005 or 2006 it was released.
2005. Actually 2004, but it was re-released in 2005.
Man,
First re-released it Hard to Be a Rock and Roller, and then it was re-released called Hard to Be a Rock and Roller in Kiev.
Oh, yeah, the live, right?
Yeah.
I listened to that album a lot, man, back in like 20 years ago. Yeah, a lot.
20 years ago, and we have the 20th anniversary of that album this year.
Yeah, you're doing something special? You're re-releasing?
Yeah, we're going to do a small tour called, 20 Years of Come On.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to use some segments from the album, a long medley or something that you're not used to hear from us these days. So we do songs like Carlisle and, Mine Oh Mine,
Yeah.
Crazy Things, the old songs.
You maybe gonna re-release it like a CD or a vinyl, maybe?
I hope so. Actually, right now we're talking about releasing a compilation album called Monumentals, kind of a best-of album with the new song Human Fire, and get some other new songs on it, and a brand new version of In My Dreams.
Oh, okay. More now produced, right? Or? I mean new production of the song.
Yeah. A new recording, actually.
Yeah. Okay. We got a lot fast into the future. I wanted to ask you first about your beginnings, because I know a lot about the Wig Wam biography, but I don't know your biography. How you started with music?
For me personally?
Yeah, personally.
Well, I got started, in 1985. That was my first time on stage. My first show with my old band called Tomorrow. It was a band from Sarpsborg. We were friends, and we were writing our own music, and kind of a cellar band. And we had this first show, and we did a lot of shows in 85, 86, 87. And then in 88, I quit the band and joined another band from Halden, the neighbor city, called Heads and Tails. We released my first single called A Million Miles Away. And we went on tour, and then I started doing more like musical productions and started to work for Norwegian broadcasting and stuff like that. And I obviously also had a couple of bands alongside that career. And in the late 90s, I decided to go solo. So I did my first Eurovision Song Contest 1998 with a kind of a popish song. I ended up number 3, and I was actually offered a contract with a label back then that I politely rejected because they wanted me to be kind of a pop artist, too smooth pop music for my taste back then, and they wanted it in Norwegian language, and I wasn't a fan. So I actually recorded my first solo album, and it was sponsored by a friend of mine, doing kind of a shopping center service thing. He had lots of money, so he decided to sponsor me, and I went in the studio and with all my songs and recorded my first solo album called G-sten, because back then I thought Åge Sten was very boring. G-sten was better. And then I actually decided to quit thinking about releasing original music for a while, because it was pretty hard. I was very old back then. 20 years old was considered very old in this business if you weren't a rock star already. So I started to make different, kind of tribute shows and stuff like that. Did Creedence show with a friend of mine, Jan Grott from Aunt Mary, and I had an Eagles show with Jorn Lande and Paul Flota from Midnight Choir and a couple of other guys.
Yeah.
And I started a band called the Wig Wam, which was kind of an 80s party band. And I had a lot of fun, during nighttime, coming up with different crazy ideas for the gimmicks and stuff, us being original from the US and, emigrated to Norway, taking names, and because, the drugs almost killed us, and big artists had stolen our songs, like Bon Jovi stole, Prayer. So we took the original songs back and we did them live the way they were supposed to sound like.
You know what? That kind of gimmick, I think that kind of gimmick was seen by Steel Panther and by Fozzy, and they both. Yeah.
And we for our first concert in my hometown, we had this, stretch limo taking us there, and we had, lifeguards, and we had an auction for our old, made the costumes from back in the days and stuff like that. It was all a gimmick, but then later it started to become more and more real, and now after our comeback, we're like Åge Sten Nilsen, Bernt Jansen, John Halter, and Øystein Andersen, instead of Glam Teenage Body and Flash, even though people still call us that,
the old names. You're Glam, so.
I remember it was much easier with the meet and greets back then, writing Glam instead of August.
What they said was Steel Panther. Steel Panther.
Yeah.
They are doing the same gimmick 10 years after you.
we did the same thing, we were kissing the girls in the front row, and we all only did songs about having a good time, and we weren't as crazy as Steel Panther lyric wise though. We didn't have songs like Asian Hooker, but we had a cool instrumental song called Erection though.
Okay, tell me again, how did the record was first recorded 2004, and with the song from that record you went to the Eurovision, right?
Yeah, crazy things.
So how was your Eurovision experience back then?
The thing was, we released the album first. We had one of our friends was a guy called Ole Evenrud, and he was a big time producer back then, and we wanted if he wanted to produce us, and he thought the kind of musical style that we had back then, it was passé, it was over with. Nobody wanted to touch bands like us back then in the record business. So he had an idea, why don't you guys do heavy metal versions of boy band songs? Like I Did It My Way and stuff like that. Tell me why. Oops, I Did It Again and stuff like that. So we tried it out. We went into a studio and recorded a bunch of, boy band, girl band songs, our style. One of those songs became so cool that we actually decided to use it for the album, I Turn to You.
Yeah, it's a great cover.
That's probably the first song we recorded.
Man, awesome cover. I love it.
Yeah, but then, we needed to write our own material. So we decided let's just make an album, and Tron is a great producer, and back then he didn't have a studio. We couldn't afford going to an expensive studio, so we recorded the first album on a cracked Cubase in his living room, and I remember I did all the vocal takes in his bedroom.
Yeah. But
still the smell from last night. He and his wife.
But it's the original recording of the album. That is the recording.
Yeah. But then, we sent the crazy things to Norwegian Broadcasting, and they invited us for an audition. And we did the song, and they really wanted us, as one of the participants. And we decided, hell, why not? And it was good because back then, nobody except for the south part of Norway, where we had a big following. We even played concerts where we had kind of Sweet and Slade as support acts back then.
Wow.
Back here. Yeah, and we were the headline. So we thought this is a nice way for the rest of the country to get to know us. And we presented the story, the one that I told you about, coming from Bronx with the set, the Polish Quarter of Brooklyn and stuff like that. And some journalists actually believed us. We spoke with an accent, And we did the song, and that year we had a great following, and so many Wig Wam maniacs coming to the Eurovision Song Contest final in Norway. And we had a great tour, released our album 667, The Neighbor of
the
Yep, and later retitled Hard to Be a Rock and Roller, changed a little bit, and then we were invited again. We came in third in the Eurovision final in Norway, 2004, and we were invited again to do whatever we wanted. And in 2005 we won, and we re-released the album called Hard to Be a Rock and Roller in Kiev with a brand new song, In My Dreams.
Yeah, but In My Dreams was 2005 was on Eurovision, right?
Yeah, but 2004 we were came in number 3 in the Norwegian final with Crazy Things.
But 2005, everyone in Europe knew you already because of that song. So did it affect your touring, your European career?
The 2005 final?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Just from going public with being a part of the Eurovision Song Contest Norwegian final, our management booked a tour about 70, 80 gigs,
Wow.
And after winning, it was tripled, which meant, and even, the fees were tripled.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Which meant that sometimes we had to play 3 gigs a day, because we couldn't afford, saying no to all those good gigs.
Of course, and you had European tours or worldwide tours?
Actually, mainly in Europe, mostly in Norway. Of course, in Norway we were huge. We sold out, and we had new records for the attendance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes 15,000, 20,000. Big the parks and stuff, and in Europe we were supporting Alice Cooper in Sweden, and we went on tour with Gotthard in Germany. And we did a lot of festivals, and played in Iceland, Sweden, all around England.
Gotthard, while Steve Lee was still alive, right?
Yeah. We
Wow.
I have a good story about those guys when we went on tour with them. We really got along well, and I remember sitting in Steve's caravan with Steve and their manager, and we were having this end of the tour party, and we were talking about maybe them joining us on our Norwegian tour and stuff like that. And when our drummer came in and said, we need to go now because they had smoked a little. and they weren't used to that because the Gotthard's crew, they had some plants and stuff, so they had tried a little, and they were like, their faces were green, so I had to bring them to a taxi, and but first we had to say goodbye to Gotthard and the whole crew, and they were lining up, the kitchen people, the crew, the roadies, the band. Thank you. It was nice, very polite. They were waving us goodbye. Taxi was driving 10 meters, and then it stopped, and the drummer just, jumped out of the car. And that was the that was the last thing they saw us. What a great goodbye, you know.
It was like you were the stars, not them, of the tour.
That's crazy.
Awesome, man. You after releasing and after Eurovision, of course, you released some more albums, right?
After that, we released a new album called Wig Wam in 2006.
Yeah.
With "Gonna Get You Someday." That's the first single. A single that we actually released during the the ski jump World Cup, where I actually jumped 120 meters in the big, jump thing in Oslo.
You did?
Or was it me, or was it someone else? At least it said Glam on the back, and I was on the sport news that day, and we were Gonna Get You Someday, and we went on tour again, and had a great time. And then when we got back from that tour, which lasted most of 2006, we went to Japan for the first time for the first tour, and we did a sold out tour in Tokyo, Nagoya, Osaka.
Yeah.
And we decided to release live in Tokyo.
Yeah.
That year. And after that, we had toured so much because the tours started way back in 2002, 2003. It was massive, even before people knew us that well.
Yeah.
And with this thing going, we were kind of getting a bit tired of each other, and the guys told me they really wanted a break. I think they really wanted a break from me. I'm a workaholic, so they wanted to have a break, and they didn't want us to have any plans for when we were getting back together. And I tried to convince them to actually set a date for when we were going back together again, because let's face it, this was my daytime job. Two of the guys had daytime jobs, but the guitar player Tron and me, for us, this was our daytime job. So
you were living from that, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it was like my boss told me, from now on, you're out of work, and I don't know when I'm gonna give you more work. I'll call you one day. What happens? Yeah, for someone like me, you'll find something else to do. And I had my own. I produced my own Queen show back then, and it was just supposed to be kind of for some weeks. But then suddenly it was 2008, and I was playing 5 shows a week. Not 5, really. We had 5 days a week, double shows.
Yeah, it was a tribute show.
Tribute show for Queen. I'm not putting on a mustache or anything. I had a Freddie Mercury mask.
Yeah.
I wore on stage, and I pulled it away, and it was me and me. I tried to do the Queen shows my way, and try to find something for me to relate to in the lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
And we made kind of a special kind of tribute show because it was kind of a cross between a regular rock and roll concert, a musical, and Cirque du Soleil. We had dancers, choirs, and a big production. And when the guys wanted to start working on Wig Wam again, I told them, hate to say it, but I have at least a year booked now.
Yeah.
So now we have to wait. I tried to tell you so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't stop working with music. I mean, you never stopped that.
Musicals?
Yeah. No. I mean, with music. You're
No.
Of music.
It's been my only job ever since.
Yeah.
So back then, I did a musical, Witch, a Norwegian musical, and I did chess in Oslo Spectrum. I was the arbiter, and I did my solo stuff. I re-released my first solo album, retitled it Wolf and Butterfly, added a couple of new songs, and I did my Queen show. So I had my hands full, and I even got job hosting a TV show called Singing Bee, 3 seasons. I mean, And when we finally started to get back together to do non-stop rock and roll, it happened again because we were about to produce and record non-stop rock and roll in 2008, late part of 2008. So I had like made sure I had 3 months off the road to be able to record that album. But when it got very close to recording the album, Tron had his hands full with producing his own Dracula concept that he was working on. So he said, sorry, but I don't have any time. And we were actually supposed to tour with Wig Wam in 2009. So, that fucked up my idea for working with Wig Wam live again, in 2009. Which led me to make my own solo album. I just called a friend of mine from A1, Christian Ingebrigtsen, saying, now we can produce my next solo album that we talked about. So we made that album, and I went on the Glamunition tour in 2009. And in 2010, we released Non-Stop Rock and Roll.
Oh, okay. So, but you had a longer disbanded, right? Like you did a reunion in 2019 with the new album for Frontiers, right?
Yeah, but first we after Non-Stop Rock and Roll, we went on a new tour in Japan and in Europe and Norway and elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, we made our kind of the last album before we broke up, Wall Street.
Yeah.
Maybe our worst album, but it has its gems.
Yeah. Why did you stop then? I think for like 6-7 years.
Yeah, actually, that was in 2013. We were doing a gig, and I had it because we didn't have the same ambitions with Wig Wam, and it was like it looked for me like the others were more interested in working with Jorn Landa and stuff like that. And so and nobody seemed interested in working with Wig Wam, and I thought, why should I work with Wig Wam if the other 3 guys aren't interested anymore? So before one show, I told the guys, this is probably our last gig. I've had it. Did a gig and I said goodbye, and we didn't talk for 6 years.
But it was always the same guys, right? You were always...
Yeah. Yep.
That's a great concept. That's like chemistry there, It's like, I don't know, like Bon Jovi were all the time together until recently, but or some other bands, like I don't know.
There's a reason why it works in a band, the chemistry between the members. So for them to bring in a new singer, or for me to bring in a different guitar player or bass. Now, let's face it, Wig Wam is the 4 of us. And if the 4 of us aren't interested in working together, then I might as well just join another band or do a solo tour or whatever.
Yeah.
Wig Wam is the 4 of us. So that's why I started a brand new band called Glamunition with Erik Mårtensson. And I also started a new band called Nordic Beast with Mickey D and Jan Lauren from Europe.
Yeah.
And kept myself busy.
I remember Glamunition. You had an album with Glamunition, right?
Yeah. We released 2 albums.
So,
and we actually came in number 2 in Norwegian Song Contest again with the Wrecking Crew in 2017.
What was Glamunition released on Frontiers Records, or it was the Wig Wam last album released on Frontiers Records?
Both, really. But when I started Glamunition, it was actually supposed to be a kind of a solo project, but Erik and I we gelled so good together, and one day he told me, should we just form a band? We could call it Glamunition. And I tell him, this sounds more like ammunition than Glamunition, man. so be it. And I got an offer from Frontiers and some other record companies, but I really wanted to release the first album on my own label. So I just did license deals with different companies, different labels around the world, which actually financed the whole album. And we worked like hell with this album. And when the time was time had come for a new album, I was so tired. I thought, for the next one, let's sign with someone else. So we signed with Frontiers, and the first album that I did on my own label, I still earn money from.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's that album still makes my life work. But the next album, I haven't seen a penny for, except for the money paid for the studio.
Oh. Okay, and after a few years after that, you got back together with Wig Wam.
And then we had a couple of years. Yeah, it was in 2018. Tron and I got back together again. I was actually attending one of his shows with his old band, Dream Police, and he had spotted me in the back, even though I had grown a beard almost like yours, and I had a cap and ponytail. I didn't want anyone to recognize me, but he had recognized me, and there was this security guard coming to me and saying, there's a guy backstage who really wants to meet you. His name is Tron. Oh, cool. Okay, cool. I'll go backstage. And we had a beer and we talked about the good days, and we started to be friendly again and becoming friends again. And so, suddenly we met each other, having a cup of coffee or whatever, just talked about the good old days and the shit that happened between us.
Yeah.
And then we started to invite the other guys, and when we finally were friends again, I told the guys that the Norwegian Broadcasting had been calling me year after year, inviting us to be a part of their final show, doing something, and then finally we accepted, and we were supposed to be kind of the break entertainment in 2019 or 20, was it? Yeah. And we accepted some festivals as well, but here comes Corona.
Yeah.
Which led to us not having gigs at all, and we had much more time, so we started to write music together again.
Yeah.
So that's how that got started.
And you released the last. It was 2 albums, right?
Yeah, we released Never Say Die, which was our comeback album, and then Out of the Dark.
Yeah, both awesome. I mean,
Thanks.
The production
much heavier, right?
It's much heavier. Yeah, very heavy. I love it. So you guys are still together? You plan on touring?
Oh yeah. We just came in number 4 in the Norwegian Eurovision Song Contest again. With a massive production. With
wait. When I wrote you, you said the guys are busy with Eurovision. I said, what's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening?
It's the Norwegian final.
Okay.
New song, new single, Human Fire, new video, everything, and now we're planning on releasing a compilation album called Monumentals, and then there will be a brand new studio album.
So wait, you won the Norwegian thing?
Oh no, we came in number 4.
Number 4. Okay. But
it was a nice day for rock and roll anyway.
Awesome, but that got you back on the Norwegian hit list. Yeah.
And brought us back to people's attention again. That haven't been, seeing us too much. But we've been playing, the Sweden Rock Festival, Tonsor Rock Festival.
Yeah.
Here now we're going to the Monsters of Rock cruise next week.
Yeah. You told me you're going to Florida for that one, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. Which bands are also there?
Oh, Extreme, Taiketo. Oh, that's Stephen Percy from Rat, I think. And
man, amazing.
Eclipse will be there, and the Pretty Maids.
Oh, amazing. So you got some European company there.
Oh yeah. And then we're doing the big festival here in my hometown, the Trondheim Rocks, with Iron Maiden in June, and so we're on a good run.
Awesome. So what your future plans, or those are the plans? Releasing the new Monumental and new studio album.
Yeah, and of course touring as much as we can, and hopefully coming to Germany now. We're just talking with a company that's wants to bring us to Germany and Switzerland, and we're doing some shows in the UK, and of course in Norway, and getting back to the US, and yeah.
Awesome. It was a great talk. Thank you for accepting my invitation, Åge. And I wish you luck.
My pleasure.
I wish you luck in USA, in Florida there.
Next time we talk, we're gonna have a Wig Wam beer.
Oh, you get a beer?
Yep, it's a tasty beer.
Wow, man, you gotta transport it everywhere.
Right now,
to you.
I'm drinking the Flash edition.
Do you have it around Europe?
we have our own. Yeah.
Yeah. You have it around Norway only or Europe?
Only Norway.
Ah, man.
They have to come to Norway, buy a cage of case of Wig Wam beers.
Oh man, I'd love to. I'd love to. Thank you for the interview, man. Thank you.
My pleasure.
You got a huge fan here, and I want to see you live. I never seen you, so I gotta catch you somewhere.
Wow. You have to come and see us in Germany or whatever. Maybe you can come to Greece.
I will.
This is in Greece. That's where you live?
No, close to. But when are you playing in Greece?
No, we're not playing there yet.
Oh, you will sometime. Okay.
Where do you live?
I'm just north of Greece. It's Macedonia.
Ah, Macedonia.
Yeah, Macedonia. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great.
It's the Balkan region.
Yeah.
We're close, and I wish to see you somewhere around here.
Any festivals there?
Yeah, a lot of festivals, man. Everywhere around the Balkan. Yeah.
Okay. Keep them posted.
Tell your tour manager, man. We gotta
bring the party.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man.
Okay. Thank you.
See you.
See you.